Hello.
Hi, I'm Nancy. I'm a grad also, 2006, class of 2005 really though. And my second year project, my relationship project was with my only brother, my sibling. And our parents passed in the last decade. Our father 10 years ago and our mother just exactly 5 years ago. And in the aftermath, our relationship, which had been close our entire lives, started to feel different, and there was distance, which is why he was my relationship project. And I've really been through a very challenging, I might even call it traumatic, several years in the aftermath of our mother passing. And a lot of events have happened, but he's suing me over our parents' estate, and you bring up betrayal, and there's just, we're Chinese, and like it feels like thousands of years of family tradition in my DNA has been like ripped out, and it feels has felt like a total assault on my identity.
This kind of situation is extremely difficult. It's very, very challenging because it will bring up everything that's unresolved inside of you.
Yes, that I'm grateful for. I think at the depths of my soul and understanding, it's really brought forward stuff that I worked with clearly during my master's program, and the vestiges of which were so deep and so deeply rooted that it brought it all to the surface, which was some idea that I was bad, that I was wrong. And I've really deeply, deeply worked with this.
And so you've worked with compassion, self-forgiveness for those misunderstandings,
Yeah.
or those judgments or misidentifications.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just then, yeah.
If there were some idea you had about how he should be or about how this should be, what would that be?
He should go away. And leave me alone, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So that's the, like,
No, now
that's
we're
authenticity, right?
But tell us how you really feel.
No, he
Well,
should.
I really, go ahead, finish that.
No, it's okay.
Well, I'm really glad you acknowledged that because, I mean, to me, that's the kind of outrage that this kind of situation can bring up.
Yeah.
And
I've really, and just feeling the anger has taken me years, like even getting to that point, you know?
so it's actually good that that's coming up.
Yeah, it is actually really good for me, at least. Yeah. You know, here's the thing, if you could assist me in getting to a place of true forgiveness and being okay with not having a relationship with him, because the two get a little confusing. It's a little enmeshed. Like, does the fact that I have truly forgiven in spiritual world reality, what does that mean in terms of a physical relationship, any kind of relationship?
It's totally independent.
Okay.
There's no requirement.
Okay.
One thing has nothing to do with the other. One of the tenets in spiritual psychology, again, for those of you who are not familiar with a lot of this, from the point of view of our spiritual growth, events happen in life of a vexing nature, precisely for the purpose of surfacing those, let's call them strings, so it reveals to us what they are, so that we can then cut them. So challenging situations in our life from the perspective of spiritual reality function that way, if we have the wit to see them that way. Most people don't. They just get mad at the other person and feel justified. And then that string never gets cut.
And I would suggest two things to you with regard to your question about true forgiveness, which I really hear as a question of how can I complete this?
Yeah.
How can I really bring this to resolution inside myself? You know, and what comes forward here is it's over when it's over. You know, I don't know that there's any shortcut. I think self-forgiveness is the fastest, it's the fast track. And yet at the same time, many of these things are in layers. And it sounds like when you spoke about this seems so ancient and so much rolled into it. You know, so one of the suggestions I would make to you, because you are a grad, is freeform writing. Anytime you feel triggered, freeform write and burn. And engage in self-forgiveness for whatever judgments come up for you as you do the freeform writing.
Thank you.
And be very clear in your intention, that your intention is to complete this, your intention is to come to complete peace and acceptance, and to come into a place of unconditional loving for your brother. And that's independent of how you choose, what you choose to have to do with them on the physical level. But it's really recognizing the two of you as divine beings having a human experience who agreed to come into this family together and to work out some very, very deep things. And this is where spiritual context really gives you the altitude that I think can help you see yourself through the kind of thing that you're talking about that's gone on for many years.
It definitely feels very ancient. It feels like we're working out generations of stuff.
You may very well be.
And
See, and I just encourage you not to demand against yourself or your process, but to be, how can I say this? Really impeccable with yourself, with your process. And by impeccable, I mean the right use of energy. It's like you allow the feelings to come up. You don't try to make it all nice and make it all look good. And it sounds like you're probably cutting through quite a few cultural traditions and tribal beliefs about how families should be as you work through this as well, Nancy. So it's complex.
yeah, it is. You know, it's bringing to mind one of the pieces of this I discovered, which was, you know, the whole idea of saving face and not airing your dirty laundry.
Yeah.
And that was so strong in our upbringing and, you know, in the culture. So, you know, that too, just, yeah. So it's been very liberating, frankly. It's just, like you said, been an intense process.
And it'll be over when it's over.
Yeah.
See, and I encourage you also, because I know you have a spiritual practice, I encourage you in prayer and really asking for Spirit's assistance, that you can surrender and sacrifice, let go of whatever it is inside of you that holds on to making him wrong.
Thank you.
Some of the challenge in what we're talking about here, if this isn't something that you've been working with or that you've been here, is if you're just looking at it, it seems like no matter what they did, you have to do the work and they get off free. It could be seen that way. But of course, in spiritual reality, nobody gets away with anything because everything is known and recorded and kept track of. I'm
really clear that this is all, you know, he's my biggest stacker.
We understand.
And this is all for my, really for my liberation and growth.
Yeah.
Then sometimes people will ask, well, what does it look like when I really let go of the judgment, you know, and I'm still involved in a lawsuit? What it looks like is a very loving person involved in a lawsuit. You just don't have to be upset about it. There's no requirement. There's no rule somewhere that says if you're in a lawsuit or someone is behaving in a way that you don't like, that you must be upset and disturbed about it. There is no rule that says that, other than we make that up. How long was our lawsuit? 3 years? We went
About 3 years, you know, and it was such an incredible process. Rather than putting so-and-so versus so-and-so on the file about this, Ron wrote the words steadfast integrity, because that was our
Wow.
intention, to
Could we-
reside in steadfast integrity. And our attorney always told us that we didn't have to go to court, that he was there and that he would handle it. But part of why we went to court was to see how we were doing. In other words,
Really?
to see whether we'd get triggered by whatever went on or didn't go on, or whatever the other party said or did or didn't do or whatever. And it was an incredible spiritual warrior training in
Yeah.
terms of learning how to acknowledge judgment when it was present, to forgive the judgments, and to learn how to mature ourselves up into holding a more neutral space.
To be more accepting.
Yeah, that this was in fact what was going on. Good luck to you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.